So thank you all for joining us live today, and welcome to Save the High Street Hounslow. We're currently living through the most transformational period in the entire history of high streets. It seems like every day there's a new opportunity to address or a challenge to deal with. And while there's much to be optimistic about in Chiswick, in Feltham, in Hounslow, in Brentford, and across the borough, there is also lots that needs to be done if we're going to ensure a future of diverse, thriving, successful high streets, not just now, but for the long term. Save the High Street Hounslow exists to make sure this positive future becomes the reality, providing a range of support for those involved in making this happen. Today, we'll be launching new initiatives designed to help local high street independents, startups, landlords, and community champions, all focused on helping each individual and each business to achieve their own goals, as well as goals for the overall high street. We'll be helping small businesses achieve their potential on the high street, whether they're startups, whether they're old businesses, whether they're scaling up, and we'll be really looking to support them every step of the way. We'll be repopulating vacant units with a new generation of high street entrepreneurs, each with the space, support, and funding they need to succeed. We'll be empowering local champions. These are the individuals and the groups who have passion to help their local high streets and communities. And ultimately, we'll be working hard to safeguard a future of diverse, thriving, successful town centres across the borough. We're excited about the weeks ahead, and we see huge opportunities for positive impact in Hounslow Borough, but we do need to join together quickly. My name's Alex Schlagman. I'm one of the founding partners of SaveTheHighStreet.org, and I'll be hosting this launch event today. But I'm not here alone today. So over the next half an hour, I'll be introducing John Abatti to talk about startups and the competition that's just launched. I'll be introducing Julie to talk about all the support available for local champions. Paul will be introducing a whole range of new support that we're looking to provide for the landlords and people interested in the property market. I'll be shining a light myself on all the support available for local independents who are trading on high streets across the borough today. If you have any questions, anytime, just add them into the chat box on Zoom and we'll answer them at the end. But before any of that, I'd like to welcome Kate Bull, who heads up Economic Regeneration at Hounslow Council, to share a little more about the Council's commitment to town centres and their partnership with SaveTheHighStreet.org to help form Save the High Street Hounslow in the first place. Welcome, Kate.
Thanks so much, Alex. We're absolutely delighted to be here and share this event with you. We are just really pleased we've been able to use our additional restrictions grant funding, which has come from central government, in this way to really provide real support on our high streets and in our town centres. For us, this builds on our work over the last year in developing our town centre vision documents, which sets out a cohesive vision and a plethora of proposals to activate our town centres, which were developed very much with our resident and our business communities, directly responding to the challenges and the new opportunities that the pandemic has brought to us all, and responding to those. So this partnership with Save the High Street is a kind of first step in taking those town centre visions forward, testing out those proposals that you've put to us, and bringing new life, as Alex was saying, to the town centres, new entrepreneurs, and really helping them thrive for the future. So we're just delighted to be here and see the programme launching fully. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you, Kate, and thank you everyone at Hounslow Council for making this real positive commitment to change in town centres for the better. And ultimately, changing high streets for the better is a team effort. We all have a role to play, including a lot of local entrepreneurs who don't even have a presence on the high street today. The Hounslow High Street Startup Competition is now live. We'll be providing rent-free space as well as hands-on support and grant funding to help launch 3 winning startups onto the high street in the borough, while providing a range of other support for 10 finalists. I'd like to welcome John Abatti at this stage, who's project lead on the competition, as well as being one of the UK's leading and arguably most passionate store design experts. to tell us a little bit more. So welcome, John.
Thanks, Alex. Welcome, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for joining, John. Could you tell us a little bit more about who should be applying for this?
Well, basically, it's any business that's what we consider a startup, and a startup can mean different things. So you could be an online business that you're already quite successful online, but you want to go into the physical world. You want to open a physical shop. You feel ready for that. Or you could be somebody who's been selling in markets and you want to take the extra step and test out what it is to have a store. You could have a great idea and with a business plan or not, a product that you feel really, or a product or a service that you feel really passionate and confident will do well. And you just need that kickstart, that help to get onto the high street. So that's, who we're focusing on and who could make the most benefit and this is the greatest opportunity for. Of course, they need to be Hounslow based. So either living in Hounslow or the business in Hounslow. And of course, this is really all about them testing your business in your neighborhood, in your to grow this where you live, to make Hounslow. It is already the best council in the UK, and to make the high streets, a destination where everyone's really excited to go again.
Good stuff. Could you tell us a little bit more about what support the winners will receive?
Oh, amazing support, really. This is a really an excellent program and an excellent project where you will actually have rent-free a physical location in Hounslow. There's a lot of vacant spaces. So part of this is to fill vacant spaces. So we have secured or securing some vacant spaces for you to move in. And you're there for 4 weeks to test it out, to learn what you can learn, to have that experience, hopefully not only make some money, but also learn a lot about how you can take the next step of moving into the high street. So you don't have to start paying rent after the 4 weeks or anything like that. Also, there's a lot of support that you're getting from Hounslow Council and Save the High Street. And Save the High Street has a platform and success managers that will give you lots of information, lots of training, lots of one-to-one action plans. And it's a very long list of the support that you could get from Save the High Street. And in particular, my role, I'm kind of the physical guy, as you introduced me, is that the people who win this competition, I'll be there to help you set up. I'll be there before you set up to start to think about what's your shop going to look like and how can you make it unique and make it a really interesting experience for customers, because customers, they could buy anything they want online now. So they're going to go into a physical location because it's something special. It's an experience. It's a personal connection to you. So it needs to kind of have your character and your story in there. And that's what I'm all about. So of course, there'll be lots of marketing and different systems like social media. There's a lot of information there to help you. If you're not doing it already, we can help you start doing it. And then of course, there's some grant involved. There's £1,500 that you can spend related to the launch of your business on the high street. So pretty good stuff.
I think even in addition to all the stuff that we'll be helping you do from your own marketing, I know at SaveTheHighStreet.org, we're really looking to shine a light on these winners and publicize them a great deal as well. John, how should people who are interested in this competition apply?
Well, we have a URL, which is on the slide there, so SaveTheHighStreet.org /Hounslow -startup. So if you can just go into SaveTheHighStreet.org and you scroll down, you'll find the Hounslow Startup Program in there, and that's a very good. Well, it's the only way to apply. Really, it's the best way to apply, because what you'll do is you'll register, and then if you want to apply for the competition, there'll be a thank you, and then there's an actual online application that you can fill out, and then once we get that application, then we can move forward.
Fantastic. So once the application has gone in, just so people understand that process, is there anything that happens after that? I know you've been interviewing people this week. It's all kicking off.
Yeah, we had 4 interviews today, actually, very interesting businesses, and 1 interview right after this. So what we do is we will take a look at your application and we'll shortlist you. which will send you on a particular path for support. And then we'll send you an email asking you for an interview. So we'll do a Zoom video call interview where we'll just ask you some more questions, get to know you, and then we'll decide winners throughout the process. If we find something really good, we might award that earlier. But the applications will close on the 18th, and we should be awarding winners anytime, even maybe before that, but definitely after that, because we want to give you enough time to prepare to open up.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. And I know in addition to the 3 winners who get all of that support, the space, rent-free, the hands-on expert support from across our team, everything from visual merchandising to marketing campaigns and systems and the grant funding, there's a range of businesses at the moment we're calling finalists who will also receive a program we've designed specifically for helping businesses who are not yet on the high street but keen to come onto the high street. And so there'll be a personalized support program for 10 finalists as well as the winners. Good. Is there anything final that you wanted to add, John?
No, I just answered a question that someone was asking, is it for physical products only? And no, it could also be services too. I mean, this is the thing about the high street now. It's no longer just selling products in a shop with stuff on shelves. So the high street is evolving, and that's what this is all about. So it's, if you have an interesting proposition, it could be entertainment, food and beverage, services, products. You know, we talk about new retail. And so this is really for people who are they know what new retail is and what the future of retail is. And this is an ideal opportunity for that. So it's certainly, we're open to all different kinds of businesses as long as it's viable on the high street.
I think you're quite right. Even those that are offering just product as at the core, I think we're going to be doing a lot of stuff with you around, launching with events and how we look at the value-added services and creating more of an experience.
Yeah, it's all about experiential retail. Like if you open up a shop now, you need to have workshops and events and involve the community. Besides the whole social media e-commerce side, we talk about omni-channel. New retail is actually quite exciting. So this is a good opportunity for new businesses to reinvent the high streets.
Yeah, exciting times. So if you're seeing this and you're thinking this is for you, you know what to do. Get your application in. If you think there's others in your community, people that you know who've got a great product service that you think that could work for them getting onto the high street, or they may have even mentioned it to you, do spread the word. Applications close on the 18th of February. So
the sooner you get them in, the
keep
better.
That in mind.
The sooner you get them in, the better, though.
Yeah, and the sooner you get it in, the better. That's for sure. Well, look, thank you, John. I really appreciate it. We're going to move on. Okay, so high streets. And the reality is high streets won't be successful without high street businesses succeeding. And today, I'm excited to announce a range of new support for 100 local independents in the borough. From retailers to restaurateurs, barbers, beauticians, butchers, bakers, pubs, cafes, laundrettes, and really anyone else who is currently serving customers from a high street or shopping centre location in the London Borough of Hounslow. Every one of the businesses we support is different, and it's not just that they have different offerings, but they have different goals, different resources, different interests, different history, different personalities. So the support you would be receiving will be personalized to you and focused on what you want to achieve most right now. Whether that's boosting local footfall or improving online presence or securing new grant funding, or could be a range of other goals that you define with the team when you join. You can think of us a bit like having a new team at your fingertips. And it's really, a team that has, not just interests in this market, but unique insight into opportunities across the high street. And because of the work we've been doing with Hounslow Council, we now have been building a depth of understanding within each of the town centres across the borough as well. So you're dealing here with a team of people that really want to understand your business, understand what it takes to succeed on the high street, and understand your high street. There are so many people here in our team that are focused on helping independent high street businesses that we decided it would be more practical to just show you some of them on a slide rather than introduce them all one by one in this section of the presentation. But everyone who joins firstly gets their own success manager who will be working with you to develop and implement a plan all focused around achieving those top goals you set at the beginning. And we also have an extensive network of specialists who are on hand to support you on demand as required, with things ranging from setting up websites and local collaborations, making the most of unique local opportunities like the Hounslow platform and more. So really where we are today is a human team at your fingertips, but you also get your own unique version of Joe. And Joe is our high street support platform, and it's designed from the ground up to help ambitious local independents achieve their goals. We'll set you up an account on Joe, and it will be your own personalized account on Joe with the top ideas for high street businesses in the London Borough of Hounslow. On each of these ideas, there's a variety of different support. So DIY guides, trainings, do-it-for-me solutions, and with everything, as we've talked about, you've got your success manager there to guide you at every single step. This is a level of support that usually costs others up to £400 a month, but thanks to the funding that Kate talked about earlier from central government and Hounslow Council, it's free now till the end of March for 100 businesses in the borough. I know this probably sounds, people listening in, like a bit of a no-brainer, but I do want to emphasize it really isn't for everyone. We're looking now for local independents who really want to take their business to the next level. It's a team effort, and while we'll be doing everything we can to help you succeed, the impact we both want from this work together will only happen if you're in that space where you're really keen at the moment to work on your business, not just in your business over the coming weeks. So if this sounds like you, then it's worth getting yourself registered today. And the website URL on the slides is worth having a look at. It's got information about the overall program as a whole, but there, once you've got yourself registered, you'll get a link to join Joe. And once you've joined Joe, that will secure your place. And as soon as you've joined Joe, the team will be in touch, and we're there to help from day one. But ultimately, as I said, it's now being promoted here by us, by the council, by a whole range of local champions in the borough are going to be receiving emails about this today. So if this sounds like something you want to get involved in, do get yourself to those to the website, check this out, and get yourself registered. So without further ado, I think it is time to move on to local champions. In almost every town centre across the UK, there are local champions who are working hard to help their high streets succeed. At this stage, I'd like to welcome Julie Holden, who's Community Director of SaveTheHighStreet.org, and as well as being a local champion herself, is a leader of our local champion community across the UK. So welcome, Julie.
Yeah, thanks very much, Alex. And yeah, it's really exciting to be undertaking this work in Hounslow. We're actually on the ground tomorrow. I'm hoping to be meeting a few of the local champions myself tomorrow, and the rest of the team will be doing some groundwork for us too. So yeah, great to be involved.
Great times. So Julie, could you tell us a little bit more about who is or what is a local champion and why they're so important?
It's a good question, Alex, because people don't necessarily recognise themselves as local champions initially, but the obvious answer are the sort of groups such as traders associations and maybe resident groups, community interest companies and other social enterprise type groups as well. But it can also be individuals, people who care about their place and who want to go the extra mile and get involved and make a difference. So it's not a job title as such. It's a way of being. It's it's ultimately somebody that cares about the success of their community, about the success of their place, and they're willing to put out some effort and share information when they see something good and exciting like this, and they've got networks perhaps, and they've got ways in which they can share information and make sure that everybody's aware.
And look, we've been talking about this ever since SaveTheHighStreet.org formed, and it was really formed by lots of small local businesses and local champions coming together. You know, why is it so important that local champions get the support they need?
It's important on a number of levels, really, Alex, from the point of view of making sure that they can mobilize their ability to make a difference. They need to have some support themselves. They need to have the ability to be able to express what they believe they need in their area and have that captured somewhere. And that's really what this support's all about. It's about making the connections, listening to what's needed, and really getting under that, really having a discussion around with the people who know their place the best. Kate's already mentioned, a lot of work's gone on already in identifying the sorts of priorities in different areas, but each place is very unique, and there's nobody that knows their place better than the people that live in it and take care of it. So yeah, we want to make sure that we've got a channel that's specifically for local champions to make connections with each other, with making connections with us, and helping us to really identify some of those goals, the sorts of things that you talked about from a business perspective, but really looking at it from the local community's perspective.
Yeah, big time. And, we've talked about this a lot, haven't we? That actually, just like every business needs a plan and support implementing it, so does a place. And the local champion is the closest thing on a town centre level a lot of the time to being that entrepreneur who's really driving things forward. So over the next few weeks, what are we doing with local champions, and how do they get involved as well, Julie?
In terms of what's going on, there's a whole heap of activity going on, starting with some on-the-ground visits where we get out and about, meet people in person, identify through some research work that we've already been doing, identify the people that we need to connect with, and also invite people to get in touch with us. That they can register. Anybody that feels that they've got something to offer can register using the link that we've been talking about, and there is a section in there where you can actually identify yourself as a local champion. We will be making connections, we'll be asking some questions, we'll be finding out really what is it about your place that you feel you need some help and support with. And some of the practical things, for example, that we've done in other places, helping to formulate traders associations, helping to build networking opportunities and set up local events. There's a whole raft of different things that we can start to unpick and identify as goals for individual places. So yeah, get involved by registering or by emailing the team. You can email Hounslow at SaveTheHighStreet.org, and that'll get straight through to the team, we'll be looking out for people who can make that difference.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you. Okay, great stuff. So on to the next section. We're going to talk a little bit about the property sector. So the gaps that are left very conspicuously in the media, and we're all aware of this, by national brands who have been disappearing from high streets across the UK need to be filled by a new generation of high street entrepreneurs or repurposed into other uses that meet the needs of the local community in which they're there to serve. In this rapidly changing environment, there are lots of opportunities for landlords, but also developers and agents to play a really positive role for town centres, while also still focusing on their own commercial incentives around building asset value and improving the income potential of their assets. And at this stage, I'd like to welcome Paul Clifford, who's one of the leading sort of retail property experts in the UK, and he's also leading on landlord engagement at Save the High Street Hounslow. So, Paul, could you talk a little bit about, maybe in a broader sense here, talk about some of the key challenges and opportunities for landlords on the high street this year?
Well, we all know that that the high street, where we have vacancies up and down the town, but you have shopping centres, you have independent landlords, all of which are feeling some pain at the moment, fundamentally because of the change in retail that we've seen over the last 2 years. But this goes back, as we know, and we've discussed it many occasions, Alex, this goes much further back in terms of the positioning of certain types of businesses, the wrong types of businesses, perhaps in some locations. So us taking this approach to look at positioning not only businesses within these spaces, but actually looking for the right types of businesses to occupy the space. Because ultimately, the thing that we perhaps got wrong in the past, and we all heard of the one that have been in this business a few years as we have, we'll remember the homogenized high streets where everything tended to look the same because it seemed to make the money. That didn't work because not all high streets are the same. We deal with centres that are 15, 20 minutes apart, and the demographic and the need and requirement tends to differ. So going right back to the sort of kernel of the issue is getting the right types of businesses within those spaces. But then we're faced with the work that's being done by this competition, which is fantastic, and Hounslow's leading the way on this, to really start to look at how do we start to not only get occupancy, but how do we start to develop the individuals within these spaces? How do we start to really turn these businesses into productive, long-term, sustainable businesses? Because we who have worked within, perhaps as I have, 15 years in retail, is that I was developed in that business. I didn't become a manager overnight. And what happens in ownership of businesses is you cut through the requirement for competence. No better ways to put it. But so they don't necessarily have any understanding of visual merchandising, where John has that skill and where the team has skill within broader business. Everything from how do you set up a bank account? I mean, these are fundamental basics that we take for granted, but yet they need support on. Where do you position products? What products should we buy? How do we know what's selling and what's not selling? How do we come up with a system to start to manage that? And this is one or two of things of a multitude of things that new businesses have to take on board. And how does this affect landlords? Well, as a landlord, you've got this space and you're seeing a constant churn. There's a couple of things that's happening. One, you're hitting vacancies and you're hitting rates bills for periods of which extend beyond 3 months. Secondly, you're paying increased fees to landlords, to agents that are having to repopulate this space. So that doesn't work for anybody. It's best we get the right business in at the right time, develop it, support it through this program, with the idea of it being a long-term sustainable occupier. And that does a whole bunch of things, as I say, in terms of rates. It's not mitigating rate. It's about that as a landlord, you've already got the pain of owning this property. Why on earth leave it empty? And as we know, the government have kindly offered to do sort of 50% of the current RV payable to businesses in the next period, 2022. Sorry, apology, this year, March 22 onwards for the next year. But of course, as a landlord, you can't achieve that. So occupancy benefits you from a financial or NOI, net operating cash improvement. But more than that, we want these businesses to come in, develop, become sustainable businesses that will pay a rent. So it does a whole range of things, and we need landlords. And I'm not a landlord, so I've worked with landlords for the last 15 years, be it smaller or larger landlords. But everyone, as you pointed out, Alex, earlier, is different, and their needs are different. And we want to make sure that we're understanding it. So again, to repeat the email, perhaps not everyone wants to fill out forms. So by all means, send an email to hounslow@savethehighstreet.org and tell us what your space is, tell us what you need, how long has it been vacant. We're there to help get people in. We've had some fantastic, and me and John earlier talking to various small businesses, everyone from someone who makes sausages to someone who has holistic healing. I mean, it's a real broad range, to restaurants, to God knows whatever else. So there are people out there that want to do things. The difficulty in the past 15 years is that migration from an idea or indeed a current space to a new space, and all the stuff in the middle in terms of complex leases, in terms of agents. We're trying to work through that, but not only that, really develop their competence and understanding within the sector to really, so when you put them in, they don't last 6 months, a year, they last 5, 10 years, the term of their lease, and then they renew. And then that's the real success for us as a sector in terms of this project.
That's great. So again, the right businesses in the right places doing the right things, sustained occupancy, benefiting everybody. But, you know, in terms of sort of getting there, I mean, you've touched on a couple of things here. You know, clearly, you know, anyone listening in who has tenants, you know, sharing the support that's available for existing high street business is a no-brainer, giving them that opportunity to get involved on that side. But what else should local landlords in the borough do to get involved? You mentioned the email, but tell us a little bit more, Paul. What else should they do?
Well, there's obviously applying and putting their property forward, letting us know what properties they have available. But it's really getting behind the project, really understanding that there is a massive opportunity here. I mean, this type of support and funding has not been done in this way. It's, as I said, I'm repeating really what many people have said, that Hounslow are leading the way on this in terms of really trying to tackle this head on. And so not only can you get involved in terms of putting your properties forward, allowing us to occupy the space and working with us on this, but you really benefit from all this support and development from these businesses are going to be receiving, because ultimately, if they're successful, they're going to stay and they're going to be there for years, not months. And that's been, as we all know, has been the concentration. And that hasn't been exclusive to subprime high street locations. This has been shopping centres. And shopping centres over the last 10, 15 years have been seeing this churn in certain businesses. And that's because fundamentally the deals haven't been right. And we understand those businesses, we understand their capabilities, and we understand where it's going to go. So we understand the potential growth of that. So yes, you'll be looking at a potential revenue or a potential income at a certain level, but the idea is that chips away and grows, and you do what we call step rents, etc., over a period of time. But we allow them to develop and grow. But what we want them to do is to get involved. We want them to get in touch. We want them to be active. And we want them to attend events like this and really start to understand it from all sides. Perhaps the criticism in the past, going back again a few years, has been the master and servant relationship between tenants and landlords. And we all know that isn't sustainable, and certainly isn't sustainable in the current market. We all want the same thing. This is the irony. We all want the places occupied. We want it occupied long term. And we want everyone, tenants and the landlords, all to make an income. So we're all on the same page. And this project really pulls things together. Yeah.
So I mean, a few of the things that I know are coming up. So I think really important, if you're listening in and you're a landlord, an agent, a developer, someone interested in the property market, once you've got yourself registered, we're going to be sharing a little bit more about broadly a bit of a consultation. We really want to understand, in the same way we want to understand startups, local independents on the high street today, and local champions in terms of what they need specifically. We need to do the same on an asset level as well. You know, not everybody is the same. And we want to know right now how longer term, you know, Hounslow Council, SaveTheHighStreet.org and others can help you get to where you want to be. We're going to have some events coming up that are specific around different audiences, and there will be a sort of property sector focused event, as well as a sort of wider high street conference that we'll talk about. And I think, as I said before, if you have tenants, make sure they're aware of this. And if you have vacant spaces at the moment, definitely worth getting in touch, because obviously there's a big remit here you probably felt coming through as a theme today about how do we repopulate those vacant spaces with the right businesses in the right places doing the right things, and how do we work in partnership with existing infrastructure that exists, both landlords, agents, etc. So yeah, a few things to shine a light on. Any final thoughts, Paul?
Only finally that again, just reflecting back on the conversations myself and John have had today with potential occupants, we're in a real position where we potentially might have more potential occupiers than spaces available, which is an irony, considering if you read the media, it's the complete opposite way around. But that isn't the reality. The reality is there are businesses out there that want to occupy space. So this isn't a red herring. You know, we have, John will confirm, is that we've had 3 or 4 really positive conversations today with people. And now we're looking at ourselves thinking, what God, we've only got a few spaces available. How on earth? And we're only early on into the project. So we could end up with 10 or 15 potential businesses who want to occupy and take space within our high street, and we don't have the space for it. So if you have space and you have an opportunity for someone to take space in your particular location, please get in touch. It would be, you'd be mad not to.
So thank you very much for your time, and thanks not just Paul, but thanks Julie, thanks John, thanks everyone who's been joining us today. I really hope it's clear that we're excited about the weeks ahead. We're very optimistic. We do genuinely see huge opportunities for positive impact in Hounslow Borough, but if we're going to really have the impact we want and make it a reality, make this long-term future possible, but also have short-term impact, it's really a team effort. So we look at it, there's people listening in today, but many people who aren't here on the event live, who have a role to play. So many different businesses, groups, individuals, as well as playing a role, have an opportunity to benefit. So if there is anyone that that should also know about Save the High Street Hounslow, please do help spread the word. Over the coming weeks, we'll be keeping everybody who's registered on Save the High Street Hounslow updated with announcements about the startup competition, success stories on your local high street, campaigns to boost footfall, information about the upcoming conference. We mentioned an online conference we're going to be hosting at the end of March. We're going to be doing a pop-up support centre in Brentford at the beginning of March, and a variety of other things. So, if you can, spread the word, encourage as many people to at least have a look at the Save the High Street Hounslow landing page, or drop us a line, as a couple of the team have mentioned, at hounslow@savethehighstreet.org. Because ultimately, the more of us who join, the stronger everyone becomes. It's been a sort of mantra at savethehighstreet.org since the beginning, but it's the message that's coming through here. We're all in this together, and our success will benefit each other. Okay, so I'd like to finish by thanking everyone for joining us today. We hope and look forward to making a difference for you. We can't help every business. So if this is something that you think is right for you or right for businesses in your area, and there's businesses that need to know about this, please do, spread the word. And this is not our last event. We will be back online in this kind of format again. We're going to be running a whole series of educational events focused on businesses, landlords, local champions, a wider event that's going to be focused around high streets more broadly. And we hope to see you all again soon. So without further ado, I wish everyone a lovely day, and all the best.